Welcome, Wildcats! It is our last week before our 1 week turkey break. I know we are all excited, but before we go too far into this week, there is one more topic we have to cover before Thanksgiving break. And that is dividing polynomials. We've added, we've subtracted, we even learned how to multiply. Now it's time to remember how to divide. So, with polynomials, we are going to study two different types of polynomial division. The first one is going to be polynomial long division. It's that familiar process that you guys learned originally on how to divide. It does take a while, it is a long process, but you've seen it before, you're familiar with it. The other method we're going to learn is a brand new method. It kind of shortcuts everything that you can. It's called synthetic division. Downside of it is you can only use this when you're dividing by a linear term with a leading coefficient of 1. So that means x plus or minus a number. So let's go ahead and hop right into it. Long division has 4 steps, just like it does when you're dividing normally. You figure out how many times the current number goes into what you need it to. Then you multiply everything through, then you subtract, and then you bring down whatever the next number is. So here's our example. 7x to the 4th power plus x cubed minus 8x plus 145. And we're going to divide that by x squared plus 6. Notice that when we rewrite this, whereas in addition and subtraction, putting in the zero spacers was kind of optional, and with multiplication, it made things line up nicely, but you could still do it if you forgot. With division, if you forget your zero spacers, then you are in a lot of trouble. So in this case, notice that our initial problem is x to the 4th, then it has an x cubed, but it's missing that x squared term. So we have to be absolutely certain that we put in that plus 0x squared, or our answer will be wrong. We are then going to divide that by the dividend. But notice that we had x squared plus 6. That one was missing an x term. So again, we have to be absolutely certain to get that in there. Now, the nice thing about polynomial division instead of regular division is with regular division you kind of tried to guess to get close. But here we're going to figure out exactly what you have to multiply something by to get to the next item. For example, here we're trying to get x squared to be equal to 7x to the 4th. So what do we need to multiply by? Well, we know we're going to have times 7, and to get to from x squared to x to the 4th, the number that we're going to multiply there would be x squared, because x squared times x squared is x to the 4th. So we need 7x squared, and by multiplying that by x squared, you get 7x to the 4th. So that's our divide step. We figure out what we need to multiply our first term by to get that equal to the first term that we're looking at. In this case, 7x squared. Step 2, multiply. So 7x squared times x squared is 7x to the 4th. 7x squared times 0x is 0x cubed technically. 7x squared times 6 is 42x squared. That's our multiply step. Now we need to subtract these. Well, notice that 7x to the 4th minus 7x to the 4th, those cancel out. That was the entire purpose. So now we just need to take the rest of these. X cubed minus 0x cubed, that gets us x cubed. 1 minus 0 is 1. 0x squared minus 42x squared is negative 42x squared. So that's our subtraction step. We're done. We subtracted everything. Step 4, bring down. So we're going to bring down that negative 8x as our next step. Now we start all over again. Step 1, divide. What do we need to multiply x squared by to get to x cubed? Well, that one's easy. X. So if we multiply x by x squared, that gets us to our x cubed. So step 1, divide, done. Moving on to multiply, x times x squared is x cubed. 0x times x is 0x squared. And x times 6 is 6x. Once again, that's our multiply step done. Step 3, subtract. Once again, notice that our x cubed and our x minus x cubed, those are going to cancel out, just like before. It is intentional, that's why we set it up this way. 42x squared minus 0x squared, negative 42x squared. Negative 8 minus 6x. It's going to give us negative 14x. Keep in mind that the vast majority of mistakes that are made in these problems are made with simple arithmetic. Feel free to use a calculator to do the simple addition and subtraction if you need to. Those are our only 3 subtraction steps there, so step 4, we're going to bring down the next item. Now, this case is a little bit strange. We need to get from x squared to negative 42x squared. Well, in order to get from 1 to negative 42, we multiply by 42. In order to get from x squared to x squared, we don't need to add any x's. So we're actually going to multiply by negative 42. And x squared times negative 42 is negative 42x squared. 0 times 42 is still 0, and so we have 0x. And then 6 times negative 42 is negative 252. So that's our divide and our multiply steps. Now we just need to subtract these. That gives us negative 42x squared minus 42x squared cancels out, just like before. Negative 14x minus 0x gives us negative 14. And then 145 minus negative 252, well, that's the same thing as adding. So 145 plus 252 is 397. And this is actually our final answer. So what is 7x squared plus x cubed minus 8x plus 45 divided by x squared plus 6? Well, it's that number on top there. 7x squared plus x minus 42. And whatever you're left with on the bottom, in this case, negative 14x plus 397, that's your remainder. So, hopefully long division is a process that you're familiar with. You've seen it before. You've done it lots. However, it does take a long time. So, when we have a linear term, I strongly recommend synthetic division. So here you can see we're dividing 4x to the 4th minus 48.25x squared minus 65x plus 4, but we're dividing that by x plus 1.75. Notice that x is not raised to a power and its coefficient is 1. That means we can use synthetic division. So in order to do this, what you're going to do is you're going to write down just the coefficients from the number that you're dividing. So in this case, 4x to the 4th, the coefficient is 4. Then you'll notice that just like before, I'm missing one of my terms. In this case, I'm missing x cubed, so I put in that 0 spacer. And then I've got negative 48.25 because that's the coefficient of x squared. And then negative 65 is the coefficient of x. And finally, I've got that plus 4 tacked on to the end. So these are my coefficients. I'm going to put those in a little box. And notice that I've left space for a line underneath them. Now I'm dividing this by x plus 1.75. But the number that I'm going to put on the outside here is actually the opposite of that. So instead of putting plus 1.75 on the outside, I'm going to put negative 1.75 on the outside. Now here's the really cool part about synthetic division. Watch the process here. I'm going to take my first number, in this case 4, and I'm going to drop it straight down. Then I'm going to take that and multiply it by the number that's over to the left. So negative 1.75. 4 times negative 1.75 is negative 7. Now all I have to do is add these together. 0 plus negative 7 is negative 7. Once again, I'm just going to multiply. Negative 1.75 times negative 7. That gives me 12.25. Negative 48.25 plus 12.25, well, that's 36. Times negative 36. Negative 1.75 times 36 is 63. Negative 65 plus 63 is 2. And negative 1.75 times that negative 2 is 3.5. 4 plus 3.5 is 7.5. And the last number I'm going to put in a box. We actually already have our answer. So from here, all we're going to do is those 4 numbers that we have, 4, negative 7, 36, and negative 2, those become our coefficients for our answer. And we started with x to the 4th power. So here in our answer, we're going to have x to the 3rd power. So our answer is 4x cubed minus 7x squared minus 36x minus 2. And then that 7.5, that's our remainder. Now what's really cool about synthetic division is you can actually use this to figure out what a polynomial equals when you plug in something specific for x. So in this case, if I wanted to know the big polynomial, the 4x to the 4th minus 48, etc., all the way down to plus 4. So if I wanted to know what that was when I plugged in negative 1.75, then I could use this process of synthetic division, and that actually tells you that the answer is 7.5. So go ahead and try that. Plug negative 1.75 in for all of the x's on the left polynomial, so the polynomial with 4 terms. You should get 7.5. Just a little cool thing that you can do with synthetic division, and will make your lives a little bit easier when you are doing some of your solutions in later terms. You are also going to see a phrase in your homework assignment called synthetic substitution. And it's going to say, using synthetic substitution, evaluate this polynomial for this value. So all you would do is you would take that polynomial, plug it into the top row with just the coefficients, and then whatever value they want you to evaluate it at, that's what you're going to put over on the left, and you're just going to use synthetic division. So they call it 2 different things, but it's really the exact same process. Guys, that's really all there is to dividing polynomials. There's the 2 methods that we learned here. There aren't any other real popular methods. If you do see one that you'd like me to try to explain to you, feel free to let me know. And as always, if you need help, you can shoot me an email, or you can shoot me a message on Schoology. Either one will work. Good luck, Wildcats.